Hello there. Okay, so today I thought we would have a look at the PlayStation 3 store. Obviously, as you can see, it's effectively closed as of July 2027 in Europe and I believe US. I think that might it's closing earlier. I believe in is it South America? South American countries. And I'm not sure about Japan and places like that, but it's a store that's very much underutilized. I thought we could have a tour of it and see what's going on. Coming very much from a company right now that is making some of the worst consumer choices on earth. I know people will say, well, digital is the future. Fair enough, and it is, but you really, I just don't see why you would take things like discs away from people personally. I feel like you should be supporting discs and just let them, they'll go of their own accord anyway. They'll eventually die out anyway, more so in the next few generations, but that's my personal view on it, I guess you could say. But let's have a glance and let's see what we're looking at. Okay. It's very, very slow navigating this, so please bear with me. So let's have a look at Black Ops. Now that has been re-released on PS5 and PS4, I believe, as well. I've got it on PS3 and still full price. See, this is the thing we're saying. I know that this stuff isn't really accessed anymore, so people don't really care. But that is going to be your future if discs are removed from the equation. Whatever Sony does, Sony sets is where the prices are going to be. Now you could level that criticism at Nintendo, and that would be fair to say as well, and more so for Microsoft, but particularly Nintendo. But I think that it's not a good thing going forward. That personally, I do feel it's going to, the only sales you're going to get are when they make the sales, when they say this is the sale, take it or leave it. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, GTA 5 played it 100 times. See, there's some games on this like Oddworld New and Tasty, which I don't know if it came out on a disc. I would assume it came out on a disc. Far Cry, The Evil Within, Battlefield 4, Rayman Legends, Payday 2, Sniper Elite, Far Cry. I'll click on the ones that don't have prices just to see what we're looking at. Obviously it's going to be Black Ops Gold Edition. Apparently the last time I checked, the servers for the Black Ops games were just infested with hackers, even on the 360 saying that as well. That's a pretty good deal, 24 quid for the Arkham collection. But again, since then they've re-released it on, I can't remember what the collection was called, on PS4 and PS5. It's just remastered versions of the same games. Most Wanted, Ghosts, I don't think I've actually ever played. Assassin's Creed 3, not a big Assassin's Creed fan, I don't know, I've never been that impressed with Ubisoft games. Not really. They've made some bits, they're decent. I did like Far Cry 3 and Origins and was it Odyssey? Assassin's Creed, they were really, really good, but I haven't played them since. Red Dead, fantastic game, never finished it, and that's also been ported now to PC, current generation consoles. But I've got the Undead Nightmare one on PlayStation 3, which is it's got the DLC for the zombies on it as well. DuckTales, I think I've played that on NES or NES, long time ago, over 30 years ago or something. Good fun. Wolfenstein, first two games really good. Haven't played Youngblood, but I haven't heard very favourable things about it. Arkham Origins, sorry. Massively underrated game. I would definitely pick that up if you get the opportunity. It's slightly, some issue in PC. It was broken as hell when it came out because I've got it on Steam, but I purchased it on 360 last year, and at some point I actually go back and actually play it for the achievements. But it's so good. It's so good. It's got some issues with the electric gloves that make the game a lot easier and stuff, but it's still really, really interesting introduction to Bruce Wayne and Batman. Modern Warfare 3, I have no clue of Call of Duty. Are these remakes of the 360 and PlayStation 3 versions of that? Because I played Modern Warfare, and then was it Modern Warfare 2? And then I checked out after that. I just didn't care. Alien Isolation, brilliant. For 16 quid, although you can get better versions of it now, obviously on, I think on the newer generation systems and PC, so you're going to get higher frame rate, but for 16 quid, that's not bad. Again, Far Cry 3, $12.99. I hated that game, Dragon Ball Universe. I love Dragon Ball, but I couldn't stand that game. More so because I just couldn't get to grips with the camera. I just could not orientate behind with the camera, and I just couldn't deal with the camera controls. They were completely broken. So these are the kind of things, like digital only games. Like, this is the stuff that's, I mean, to me, I'm not really that bothered, but Nurse Love Addiction on PlayStation Vita. Now some of this stuff just looks like crap, quite frankly, but I'm sure someone's crap is someone else's treasure, so it depends how you look at it. Uncanny Valley, never heard of it. Formo 8, never heard of it. Super Magical, Xeno Raid. I'm not sure whether I need to replace the battery on this because it's not keeping the date all the time. So it probably means I think it means I need to replace the watch. Is it like a CR2 watch battery that holds the settings? So that might be a job for the future. There is a lot of, sort of, I wouldn't say, I suppose crap's the unfair, but a lot of junk, let's just say that. Walking Dead, never really been my thing, but it's the Telltale games. They're good stories. Resident Evil 0 is the most flawed of all the Resident Evil games. It's not as bad as everyone says. It's not great either. It's not bad, but I'd never liked the dropping the. I like the idea of being able to drop mechanic, as in drop the items on the floor and then re-pick them up, which is kind of cool. But the swapping between the characters is kind of irritating, and it got quite tedious. Though I love the concept of the story. That it tells the story of Bravo team before the Alpha team get to the mansion, and before you even get to the mansion with the Bravo team. But as people have said, Rebecca Chambers is very much. She's a totally different character in Zero, and yet when you see her in Resident Evil 1, the remake, she's very much frightened of everything around. I was like, hang on, she's dealt with all this already. So that would be if Capcom, because I know they're doing Veronica or Code Veronica remake. If they were to do any more remakes, maybe Zero. So there's some speculation that 1 is going to get remade. I don't think 1 needs remaking again. You could do it, but I don't think it needs it. But still one I need to pick up on physically on GameCube and probably a PS4 Origins collection as well, because I've got Alien Isolation on there. Valiant Hearts, I've played that on Xbox. It was an interesting concept. Dead Nation, I'm sure, was it that or was it one of them that had... When PlayStation PSN was hacked in, was it 2011? I'm sure that's one of the games, but it was a PS3 version they were giving away, which was Dead Nation or something. It was just a co-op zombie shooter game, top-down perspective. Don't Starve is great. Is a great game. I didn't know it was on Vita. And I've got it on Steam. Serious Sam, only one, there it is, Dead Nation, yeah. Only one I've actually played is is it Serious Sam 2? On PC. Not a bad game. From what I remember it, but it was the early 2000s when I played it. Oddworld games I've never really got into. I do remember the original PS1 game, that was very, very unique for a game. Monopoly. I think I've got that on PlayStation 5, I think. Run Like Hell, Jared Danger. So I'm sure there's someone who'd be shouting and going, "Oh, stop! That one looks amazing!" Like I haven't got a clue. Battle Princess of Arcadius. Sure, that is quite popular from, if my memory serves me. The thing was, when PlayStation 3 and that, if that's the original, the Star, that was a nightmare to play through. It was so goddamn hard. If it's the one I'm thinking of, the one that was on the originally on the SNES. But when PS3 and 360 came out, or 360 was about a year before PS3, the stuff that came out on both their stores, but particularly on Xbox 360, the indie stuff and the arcade stuff, like, I suppose it'd been classed as arcade stuff back then, but it was immense, and PlayStation really had very little in comparison, and then that all changed like a year or two later. But it took a long time for PS3 or Sony to sort of get their I say their groove on when it came to gaming, and because there was such a lackluster of stuff that come out for PlayStation 3. And it is, for me personally, I still think PS1 and PS2 are better than any other PlayStation generation ever, just because now there's a hell of a lot of nostalgia there, which I suppose isn't necessarily warranted, but I guess from my perspective it is. But PlayStation 3, I think, is quite a weak system. More so because the games on it, not a lot of the games that really interest me massively. Whereas PS1 and PS2, there were so many games, and they were more. Well, I'd say they're more good than bad, but there are some shite on those systems, those early systems as well. PlayStation in particular. When I think of PS4 and PS5, I just think, I don't think they're bad. I just think PS4, there's a couple of The Last of Us, God of War, but I don't know. I just think of it as just a very bland system with some decent games, but a lot of very bland games as well. And I guess you could say the same about PS5. And it's easy to kick Sony right now because the decisions they are making are idiotically stupid, personally, from my biased perspective. But that's because I'm a collector, so I like discs and stuff. And I understand, as I said already, like digital, but okay, this is just junk, so I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker. Yeah. God, this list just goes on and on and on. Oh, we're at the end. So I have no idea if any of those games are any good. Add-ons. Or DLC. Yeah, it's just... Oh, there's all your Rocksmith tracks. Oh, look, all the DLC for Rocksmith and all those other music games I've never ever been interested in personally. But I know some people love it. And what demos we got? Energy Cycle, London Detective Mysteria. Dragon Quest Builders. I've never played a Dragon Quest game until recently, and yeah, I enjoyed it at the time I had with it. Builders was more interesting because obviously building things as well as fighting monsters. Might be one day to pick up. But again, it's a Vita game. Vita was a system that just didn't seem to be supported by Sony. They just sort of, and plus the decisions they made. I never owned one, so I was never a PSP or a Vita gamer as such. I had a DS. Game Boy Advance. I think did I get a DS? Oh, I got a DS. Yeah, I did get a DS at some point. But again, like everything, when you're younger, you sell things to buy other things. So it's kind of a catch-22 really. Lego Batman, people love them. I can never get into them for some reason. Final Fantasy 13. I played I think I got the first one at home, and I find it kind of boring. I don't think I think it was more the combat system, because I've been playing a bit of Remake 7 on PS5, and that's really, really good. I enjoy that thoroughly. Resident Evil Revelations, very, very decent game for Resident Evil. Certainly not as good as the original games, but a good sort of tie back to horror and stuff. Those are good to get, the Sly Cooper games, if you get them on disc and that, because they are shooting up in price. Super Monkey Ball, I've played that on original Xbox, I think it was. It's actually quite a lot of fun for what it was. Arkham City, Spec Ops: The Line. Everyone says that is amazing. Again, I've never played it. Source, I don't know, that's the PlayStation Move stuff, wasn't it? Uncharted Golden Abyss. The only Uncharted game I've never played. Mod Nation Racers. That was like the Mario Kart equivalent. I don't think I ever played it. I heard a lot about it though. Lego Harry Potter. The Darkness. Ratchet and Clank. All for One. Never much of a platformer gamer. Resistance 1 and 2 I've got, although I didn't really get into them. Saying that God of War, I didn't get into them. I like the new ones, but I wasn't that enamoured with when I played God of War 1 remastered on PS. It was on this thing, on PS3. I don't know what it was. Hack and slash. Hack and slash. I don't know what it is, so I just didn't get into it. But again, there's just too much choice, too many games now to even sort of keep up with everything. Killzone's one I tried. Again, couldn't get into it. Graphically, it's really, really good. And from what I played, the gameplay on, I think it was Killzone 2 I had on PS2 or what, 3? It wasn't bad. That's brilliant. MotorStorm, all the MotorStorm games are just so much fun to play through, and the destructible environments around them is amazing, particularly on this hardware. Dante's Inferno was kind of the equivalency of God of War, and I've never played it, but I've heard a lot of things about it. Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 is probably got one of the best openings of every game I've ever played, where he's hanging off the train. Ghostbusters, I enjoyed that. The AI is a bit naff on it, but in general, like, it's really, really good. And that has also been remastered since. Never played that. Dragon Ball Burst Limit, not a bad Dragon Ball game. I remember playing that on, I think it was 360. The Budokai games are always going to be the ones that are the most memorable. Oh, what's this? There's Simpsons. No, this can't be available, surely not. No, it's not doing anything. Isn't there like a remaster of The Simpsons coming out or something? It looks like it's delisted anyway, because it's not coming with a demo or anything. Man, PlayStation Network on this is really, really unresponsive. Folklore, that's one that's got up there though, I believe, in terms of the pricing of it. Heavenly Sword is another one I've heard people say is really, really good. Again, never played it. Ridge Racer 7. What are we on? 18 minutes. Now, if you want to buy off this store, you have to add money to your PlayStation wallet on a PS5, a PS4, or via, I would assume, the website on a PC or a Mac. I don't know why they've done that, but it'll be. I'd assume it's got something to do with security. And this is the thing of, you know, the major complaint towards not just PlayStation but Xbox as well, is that they're not, well, their security, particularly PlayStation, is not up to stuff. It really went down the other way, considered Xbox, I believe, as well. Blackgate, I've played a demo of. It's kind of like a weird 3D, 2D hybrid type game. But generally, yeah, like, it's not something that you would, well, I don't want to take the chance of it. I've cancelled my PlayStation subscription, so I won't be buying anything digital or supporting them at all, and I won't be buying a PlayStation 6. I'm going to go completely, probably Steam and just PC only as of now. That's supposed to be quite good. I think it's from the creators of, or the creator of Castlevania. Borderlands 2, that's really good. Got that on PC about 10, 15 was it 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I won't be supporting Sony going forward, not at all. And I know it's not going to affect them massively. You know, people say you it's pointless. It's like, yeah, still, it's the principle of it. At the end of the day, like you're locking out a great deal of people that may not have necessarily a lot of money to get in on these platforms. The hobbies, gaming is going to become an expensive hobby like anything else now. Also, some of that's not under their control, obviously, with the RAM and the AI crap that's going on at the moment. But at the same time, I mean, I was talking to a mate and he was saying like, well, they shouldn't, they're not going to delay these systems, or I says, well, I am just getting too stuck in my ways, I guess. People go on about these Disgaea games. I think they're like, I don't know, I presume they're like JRPGs or something. It just doesn't. There's too many of them, and I don't know. The time sink is a lot of the time in the types of games. But I must admit, I am having a great deal of fun with Final Fantasy Remake 7. So much on here though that's like digital only. Like this is all just going to disappear, and you'll never see it again. I mean, there are certain games you can't even play, like Lord of the Rings, the Battle for Middle-earth. You can't buy it anywhere. It's not available. It's totally delisted. Although they have just brought Lord of the Rings War of the North back, and I've got that on this PlayStation, and it's also just been remastered as well. So, and it didn't get a particularly positive review when it came out, but it seems to be getting better reviews now. Now, whether that's from nostalgia, I'm not really sure. Flow, never heard of it. Flower, I played one of them games, and I didn't understand what the hell I was doing. It was like I was like skimming over a desert, and I was just flying right. No idea what the point of the game was, but I like that you had more. You had different genres and different tastes and different choices. Then there's less and less choice now, I would say, which is quite sad. The God of War games they're ones definitely to pick up, particularly on Default Vita and original on PS3, and the originals on PS2. I don't think they're as expensive on PS2. I think the HD ones trilogy seem to be more expensive. There's so much stuff on here. I mean, when the 360 store closed, it was the same sort of thing. All that stuff just gone. I've got Jack Renegade on. I got it in an auction lot of videos I did years ago on YouTube. PS2. I've not played it. Kills a Mercenary. Killer Dolls United. Lara Croft Go. So this generation would have been when we had a lot of obviously like smartphones and that were becoming very big at that point. Obviously you still had your Vita and your 3DS. Like Looney Tunes Galactic Sport. I would download these, but unfortunately I don't have a Vita, so it's not a system I've ever really been that interested in collecting for. I remember the Minecraft's on Vita as well. I remember the PSP being, oh my god, playing SmackDown vs Raw, and that it was so slow. The loading was about a minute at a time just to get into the game. But an interesting handheld nonetheless. I say the same about my 3DS, which I've soft modded now, so I've got all my games backed up on an SD card. Need for Speed Most Wanted, one of the more disappointing Need for Speed games. Not a bad game, but the one after that, was it Hot Pursuit? That was excellent. That was really good. Never Ending Nightmares. I remember watching that on YouTube video for that. It was quite an interesting game. Seems to just basically Vita. But look, the list goes on and on, man. Let's have a look at some other stuff. There's not a great, well, I'd say I don't think there's a mass load on it. I've got that on PS3, I've never played it, Mafia. Watch Dogs, that was an interesting game from Ubisoft that never really went anywhere. I didn't know the original Call of Duty was on there. I played that on PC back in 2001, I think. Sonic Adventure, a game I loved, I wanted to love, but really didn't. I don't know what it was on the Dreamcast, it was just, when I remember seeing it on the Dreamcast, when it was shown off in the shelves in about 99, I think it was 99. And it was amazing. It was so immersive, like the 3D graphics and that, but like I've never been a big fan of like 3D Sonic at all. I love the 2D stuff, but the 3D stuff has just never grabbed my attention. Medal of Honor Warfighter, there's another franchise that kind of died of death, Medal of Honor. Although I believe Battlefield's on the upsurge again, isn't it? Apparently it's doing, well, it was doing quite well. It must have done because they just sold the whole company to, was it the Saudis, apparently? I think Telltale, didn't they go out of business, then come back in and then go out of business again? I'm not really sure. Again, they're games that people seem to love. It's just a story. I could just sit on YouTube and watch it. I don't know, but personally why you pay for it. But some people really enjoy it, I guess. Never did play the DLC for Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon. Dead Island, heard a lot of positive things, never played it. Only Toy Story I remember is the original one on the Mega Drive, and for the time it came out, it was quite impressive. And there was one on PS2 I remember as well, but I never really got into them. So I got most of my games with copied stuff on PS1. At school, you should just take a game, copy this way. Shouldn't really do that sort of thing, but personally I wouldn't do that sort of thing now. It's not worth the just the work it would require and stuff. It's just easier. But back then we did, especially on PS1. But it's a shame though, because I wish I'd owned the real games. But hell, as a teenager, you know, got the PS1 shipped and off I went. There's Hot Pursuit. Looks like it's delisted. Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Episode 1 and Episode 2. One or two of the most disappointing video Sonic games in the human history of video games. Downright awful and crap. Absolute shite. They didn't feel like Sonic games, they didn't play like Sonic games, the physics were completely off and they were just shite. And then a lot of death pitfalls for some reason. I don't know why exactly, but there was loads of them. And it was really irritating. You get some in the 2D games as well, don't you? Sonic 2's gone, and I think Sonic 3 has a couple as well as... I think the 2D games have got them, but they're put in places that you have the opportunity to avoid them, whereas in that, it was just awful. I've got one on PS3, episode 1 or 2 is on one, I've got the other one on 360. Thief, that was really popular back in the original PC days. Streets of Rage 2, that's a well recommend, but you can get that on just about any platform. And I've recently got 1 and 2 on original cartridges on Mega Drive. I still want to get 3, but £100 to £199 for Streets of Rage 3 might be a bit too rich, even for my blood. Yakuza, people love Yakuza, never got into it. Dead Space is remade, excellent as well. It's one I'd like to play and even pick up at some point. And I've never played the original Dead Space, but I played 2 on the 360, and that's really good. But they didn't remake 2. I don't know why they didn't do the business for EA. I want to see the EA classics come back, the decent stuff. Command and Conquer, Desert Strike, Road Rash, all these really good games that EA just kill. They just don't. The only thing they seem to care about is sports, and the only other thing they produce is they produce the odd Star Wars game from time to time, which wasn't bad. Saints Row, I remember playing one on PS3. Just thought it was just more a comedy GTA is the only word I could use for it personally. Not bad, but Call of Duty 4. See, those ones I remember playing on 360. That and Modern Warfare 2. So the ones that are coming out now, I've never played free. Are they remakes of those games, or what exactly? Because I'm completely confused. And the other thing you're having with digital stuff, everything, not just games, digital everything, is that like there was a story this week just gone of a guy that bought Lord of the Rings on through Google, and he bought the extended editions digitally, and they removed his content. They said to him, "Sorry, mate, we the license is expired." Is that okay then? Well, and I think he said, "Well, can you get it back or get me a refund?" Oh no, we can't do that. I'm sorry, but it is illegal. It's completely, that surely has to be illegal, and something has to be done about that, because I do think unless someone steps in and says to these companies, you're going to have to start regulating this stuff, and the the way the license fee or the licensing works, you're going to have to guarantee people license for life, or you offer a refund. Otherwise, if your government steps in, there's going to be all sorts of backhanded deals going on and stuff. I guarantee that.